to the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority. That's our particular meeting while we're here, the business that we do. And I'll call that meeting to order. Wade, would you have any letters and communications for the board?
There are several things I'd like to direct your attention to in the purple folder. The first thing is a thank you letter from Seaway Slow Pitch Softball for the good season they've had. The second item in your packet is Cape Air just broke another passenger record in August. Very nice press release and very nice article in the paper today as well. It's interesting to see that nearly 20% of traffic out of the airport is Canadian. The third article in there revolves around the longshoremen. The longshoremen are leaving the AFL-CIO, Maritime Trades Department. That's a reference item. A couple of news articles during the period. There is an update from council on one notice of claim. There is an update from Valadas law firm regarding the monthly activity report regarding the CFA. There is the outcome of the favorable outcome of the FIRB decision that is there in its entirety, and there is a picture of a new fire truck that we should be receiving. Steve, what's the date on it?
August 21st.
August 21st. And there's one other thing I forgot to mention. The bridge traffic comparison report is in there, and in behind it is the lawnmower analysis for the agenda item on tonight's board meeting. And that concludes letters of communication.
Well, looking at the law firm's report here, I found that quite interesting, the things that they're doing and moving things along in the communication, and it seems to me very worthwhile of them being involved in helping us with some of the issues that we're dealing with. I thank you for that report. I thank them for giving us a good report of what they're doing. Anything else, Wade, in communication?
No, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
thank you. We have a report of approval of board minutes for May 1st and June 5th. Receive those. Motion? Doug, second, Mona?
I'll second.
Second. Any further comments and questions on the minutes? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Do you have any comments or presentations by citizens? The press, you have anything to say, Brian? Did you want to add? Okay, thank you.
No.
Not now.
Not now. We'll read it tomorrow morning. Amen to that. Okay, I guess we're ready for some reports here. Wade, take yours first.
Okay, I'll go down through here. I don't want to belabor you with details, but I do need to go out of my way to thank Senator Gillibrand's office for a conference call that I had about a week and a half ago here with the USDOT representative that's involved in the Tiger program. The feedback was helpful. It helped us get an idea of how our Tiger application will ultimately fare in the process. Short answer, a lot of the applications out there have 50 and 60% matches. Our application was a $12 million application with a $1 million authority match. Odds are we aren't going to be successful, but we will continue to try. We will continue to advocate for this because it's a very worthwhile project. So we'll see where that goes. I also contacted Ontario Transport regarding the sign package on the Canadian side. The original timetable was it was supposed to be installed in August. Just wanted to talk with them about that. We've met with the city of Ogdensburg, talking about a variety of different issues during the month. Very good cooperation there. The Regional Council Public Information Session was held here at the Authority last night. It was good to put the Authority on showcase and also have such a large group of folks here at the meeting as well. The Regional Council Tourism.
Excuse me, sorry to interrupt you there, whatever. It was kind of interesting here because Wayne gave us, a presentation. I don't know if you're gonna talk more about it. And obviously, if you look at the photographs and things here, whatever, they had levels of significance in Wade's report and certain things, whatever. And he brought attention to the double ships there, and he talked about the collage here and things. So it was a great situation here to address some of the things that the Port Authority does. Some people do not realize what happens here. And I think Wade did an outstanding job, using the photographs in the room. So here last night to point that out, and I wanna thank you for that.
Thank you. It was good to showcase the authority and also have the members of the Economic Development Council here as well. There was a tourism committee meeting earlier in the month, and let me back up. Piece of history here. Those of you that have been on the board for a while, you recall a grant that we had a couple of years ago where we administered the marketing program for Watertown Airport, Messina Airport, and Ogdensburg Airport under a cooperative grant agreement where the Bridge and Port Authority was the applicant. There's an opportunity that presented itself the other day for the authority to partner with the Growth Fund and potentially bring $1 million in state resources to market the entire North Country region. So we jumped on that opportunity. We're working through it, and we will be submitting a CFA before that later this week. The PERB arbitration award was implemented and sustained another CSEA challenge. It's now fully resolved, and the packet, the information is in your packet. CSEA now needs to make a choice regarding the health plan, and we're currently awaiting a response on that. Compliance targets remain a priority. We've had some training, we've had targets, and we're striving to meet those targets. Ethics training. I attended the ethics training, and the internal training will be conducted for the authority tomorrow. So we'll get that done. We had a very interesting series of 2 meetings. The first with NYSERDA, the second with NYSERDA and Larson Engineering to discuss opportunities to fund and enhance bridge lighting and industrial park project. NYSERDA is getting the program details together, and then we'll have additional conversation. Under the Port of Ogdensburg, there's several things to note there. The first one isn't in the list specifically, but it's the CFA that we will be submitting for a combined rail bridge rehabilitation and grain bin project at the Port of Ogdensburg. That's going to be a $2.2 million application that will win. Several items relating to the airport. There was the Cape Air ribbon cutting, 2 revisions of the airport security plan. I met the new TSA facility service director security director in Syracuse. We've had conversations with CNS engineers, one here at Bridge and Port Authority, and one in Syracuse, regarding the master plan update. There's more work to do there. The expansion in the industrial park, that'll be before the board and executive session next month. The request for proposals for the hotels were issued. There was some initial interest, and I think we will be having a non-mandatory meeting here on the 20th, Steve? Is that the right date? August 20th for the hotel RFP? Okay, it's somewhere right there.
I believe that's right.
I remember that.
Yes, August 20th.
Thank you. ILA negotiations are coming up. The initial position will be developed this week for the negotiations to start on the 21st. An ILA grievance was resolved. Several things regarding outside counsel and on a variety of different topics. And the discussions that we've had individually throughout the month on a variety of issues. Be happy to answer any questions. Oh, there is one thing I would be remiss in not saying. We received several compliments yesterday on how good the building looked and how good our grounds looked, and that's a direct plug for Steve and his group. Doing an excellent job here, getting the building back white and green in the appropriate spots.
Well, I think that goes to say what, just improve carpet from the hallways, make it a little different, update some of our office and things like whatever. We talk about this room a little bit, your office, some of the type of things when you come in the building, it's not 1850 or 1850. Well, it is 1850 building, whatever it is, to update it, whatever, and so I think that says a lot about our personal pride and the way we want to do business, so. Amen to that. Thank you for actually getting the bill done the way it looks. That looks great.
One of the things that's in this, I wanna make Wade aware of, Mr. Chairman, is this withdrawal from the longshoremen withdrawn from the AFL-CIO Maritime Trade Department. That's a jurisdictional area that you people better take a close focus on and make sure you stay up to date on that, how that's gonna work. Because they settle jurisdiction disputes. If you have a jurisdiction dispute in this port down here, and there isn't any way to resolve it, it's an issue, Frank, that we better make sure and get a clear picture from the international, how they're gonna handle their jurisdiction disputes. They're not withdrawn from the international AFL-CIO. Still gonna be members of that. But there's a big difference here on this jurisdiction disputes. So, you might wanna follow that real close. I just wanted to let you know that.
Is there a way to follow that, Fred? Did you know?
Well, the thing is, you'd be talking with Mr. Baker and those folks, and you're gonna have to tell them how they're gonna settle a jurisdiction dispute. There is one, so, there could be one. I'm not creating something here, I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to say that, Frank, you can handle it later. Jurisdiction disputes are settled, and there's usually no penalty to the employer once it's settled. But if you don't have a mechanism in place, you can imagine.
Good point. Thank you.
So I watch it very closely.
You will.
Fred, would you like to give us your report?
Sure. I'm going to skip the first two because we'll do those last, the financial reports and the operating statements. Under compliance, we continue to search out certified WBE vendors, and we have increased the NWBE usage significantly in the past month, and that was through our insurance that you folks accepted, and with the trucking firm that we're renting trucks from at the port, and some other things. So that should enable us to make our goal in the second quarter. Our first quarter usage was 4.36%, and that is unacceptable.
Let me go over that again, because I think that throws me off. At the end of the year, when we make 20%,
Yeah.
that means one thing, but each quarter, we really should be hitting 20%.
Well, let me report the first quarter usage at 4.36. That's the only quarter they've got for this year.
Yeah.
And I was told on the phone that if we continue at that pace, that there will be consequences. I don't know what that means. So we need to get those numbers up, and I think we've made some strides last month to get those numbers up. And I think when they all add up, all the quarters, we'll make it. But right today, we're not making it. We're at 4.36. That's the only number in front of them. That's the score at the end of the first quarter.
Well, that would have, go ahead, Doug.
Oh, go ahead.
My question would be, what advice could you give us as board members when that number comes up? What do we need to do better to, or is it beyond our control that nothing that we can do as board members to help you with that?
We have a resolution in this packet tonight for the fencing.
Yeah.
There's MWBE vendors in that. I think when there is opportunities to do business with MWBE vendors, especially when they are the lowest bidder, I think we need to take advantage of that.
Where can we do that?
I think that's something you need to consider very seriously.
I guess it depends on how close the bid is.
How close the bids are, and whether or not we also addressed one earlier tonight where, in the other committee, where goals are set. Any contract over 25,000, we have to put the goals in. So when they don't meet the goals, I think we have to get a process where those bids are rejected, or when they send in a bid, they make the 20% somehow with a subcontractor or something. But we've got to be very cognizant of that, and
they have to be certified people that these people will do business with. It just can't be a fly-by-night say, well, my sister-in-law's company.
Right.
It has to be, and they have to be certified, and we have to, that's our job to make sure that that mechanism is followed very closely. And, I think, as I said, are you gonna look into that? and
Yes.
Come up with some?
Yes, we'll come up with a mechanism there. And the other is, we are constantly on the lookout for things that we handle ourselves, you know, that doesn't come to the board level, to find MWBEs to fill those, discretionary spending things. And you, I think, from time to time, may get challenged because we aren't doing business with who we did business with before. Because we are searching for MWBEs to do business with. And an example would be the recent deal we made on the copiers. We went to an MWBE firm and we have a disgruntled vendor that was providing. And I think we are searching all the time because even $1,000 deal makes a difference if we can get that, to get that percentage of it. And we're working and looking all the time. Steve does, we do, you know, for the POs and so on, and the spending that we do. We're constantly searching for opportunities, even if it's a small opportunity, because all those small ones add up and make that percentage. We're doing everything we can to get that up to 20%. So when you hear of these things, you're aware that most likely what we're doing is out there searching for MWBEs. And it bothers people, you know, a firm that we've done business with a long time, that they lose the business because of an MWBE.
Doug, you have a comment?
I just trying to remember, if we hit the 20% mark next month,
Yes, next quarter.
where does that leave? I mean, are we,
I think that
satisfied for the year, or do we have to continue to do that?
Yes, we have to continue to do it, we'll continue to search for more opportunities. I think what it does, it will take the pressure off us, because I spend an inordinate amount of time looking for opportunities and listening to and getting questions about why we're not making our goals. There's an awful lot of pressure as the compliance officer. You know, I'm the tip of the sword, you know, and I get the questions. The other day I had to send in explanations for our goal plan, I don't think they would come if we were making 20%. I don't think all these questions and all this would come if we were more successful. I think we will be.
See, the problem that I have with that is you go out and search for certified people,
Yes.
and there's none out there for
Right.
what we need. I mean, how can they actually put the hammer on us when we're out there searching for something that's not there?
They are
Their answer is they are there,
They are there.
because it's statewide.
They may not be right here.
In Ogden.
So like earlier today, when we had the discussion on this, you've got to meet these goals. When we put a bid out, and the bid went out, there's 3 or 4 bidders that's lower than 3 people, or at least 2 people on that bid, are the highest 2, but they meet the qualifications of what we have to do. But it's, now, we've rejected that particular because we're gonna spell it out for them. When Steve gets the bids back in, if they don't make that qualifications on the minority side of it, then he rejects them. You don't have to reject them, they just don't meet it. They don't meet the specs of the bid, so you move on to who does.
Then I can see where the community gets upset because you have to pass over locals. to go
Right.
vote.
Well, that's the interesting thing. I
Yeah.
mean, it's public policy that will go with MWBEs, and it's also authority policy. And the public policy interfaces with us as a public authority, and we need to do these type of things. As a result, some folks are unhappy. Copiers, an example. Another thing is the insurance. We have a very disgruntled insurance vendor. But, you know, our experience has been mixed. It's not not always hired. In the last two instances on two major items, they've been local.
You know, all these companies knew, and everybody's known this was coming. They had plenty of time to put themselves in qualifications for this, you know, and it's just, not to muddy it up. Take Fisher that we've got looking at all our developments. They meet these qualifications.
Fisher does not.
Yeah, he's got somebody that meets them though.
No, if we were rebidding it today, they would, but they didn't. They were just under the wire when the policy was different.
But I'm saying, they gotta get it done.
One thing that's not in the policy is that you may get a qualified bidder, but you may not get a bidder that can do what you need done. That's the other shoe that doesn't always go with just getting it, you're meeting a goal of 20%, that's fine, but do you get the same product or the same work, same service? That, you know, they haven't thought about that part of it yet.
They have, their experience has been with MWBEs that we have been getting good work, we've been getting it at reasonable prices. So our actual experience has been different than what I expected it to be. Our actual experience has been just fine.
From a private contractor standpoint, because I represent a lot of them, they hire a lot of these guys to qualify in these firms, and they end up doing the work, and the other firm gets the check, and they take it out of their pocket. Just the way it is. That's construction trades, though.
Kevin, you had a comment?
Yeah, I guess, more of a statement or for Fred. I mean, they've been knowing this stuff is coming, because like what Fred said.
Right.
But the issue about like with the copiers, for example,
Yes.
maybe if we have other things that we know that are becoming due, we might wanna put a bug in their ear and say, hey, you don't wanna end up like some, you know, like the other people that, cause it's gonna happen, so if you don't get this, so maybe a little, then at least we can say as an authority or people here in Ogdensburg that, hey, we gave you every opportunity, Mr. or Mrs. Local, and this is the avenue we're gonna have to pursue if you can't qualify.
And we do that a lot. A lot of them have known that this. And just by way of, or just to explain, anything under 25,000, we do not have to set goals on. So we don't have to explain why we buy.
Use the posters.
Why we buy a poster, or why we hire a photographer that's not an MWP, because it's under $25,000. But if we don't search for those, we don't have a chance of making our goals. So that's why we continue to do it. If we don't find one, we're okay, because we don't have to put a goal on it. But if we don't continue to search, there's no way we're gonna make this 20%, and there will be consequences. I've been told that more than once.
But what are the consequences?
I don't know, they don't say what the consequences are.
They don't
Well, I can
always-
tell you what, I'll tell you one of the consequences, okay, is really this board. And because when I got a phone call, and you know, and I dealt with individuals down in New York City and said, wait a second, your obligation as a board is to meet these goals. And I had a conversation a couple minutes early, said, Mr. Lamasha, you know our conversation, what you're supposed to do, not to do. Of course, there was a wording situation that we went through the newspaper. And if you don't think they read the Ogdensburg Journal in New York City and what this board, they do. They know exactly what's going on, okay? So we as a board have an obligation to do those type of things. That's why I asked the question to Fred, what as a board do we need to do, okay, to help him get where we want? I don't think anybody in this board has given any direction to take anything a different path, not whatsoever. And it's complicated in its own way, but that's what we're doing.
Well, one of the things is, you know, this has been sent down by the governor. This is what he says, this is what his goals are. And if you make 20%, you're fine. If you don't, if you make 80% or 90%, that's it. Next year starts again. You don't carry it on, you just carry on what the threshold is, and it's 20%. And you've got to do it. It's got to be done. How it's done? Through procedures. Well, we got local people in the area that send us certifications that they're qualified. It's up to us now to see if we wanna use those folks. But,
Fred, is there a website or something with regard to, remember you said each minority or women organization has to have a number.
Yes.
That we can check and make, so if we get it on an if we ask for it on an application, we can double check.
Yes,
An easy place
We
to
do.
find it is
Good.
right off Empire State Development's website.
I'm just saying, you get, because
Directly.
we're gonna ask for it, but you wanna make sure.
Well, if
you
Fred didn't
check
get the
it.
number, he wouldn't let the person do the work. Simple as that.
Does our yearly goal go by quarter? In other words,
Yes.
you're saying we're 4%.
Yes.
So next quarter, do we have to be 36% of the same amount to bring it to 20%? Or do we just have to be 20% of whatever that amount is in that quarter?
The real thing that counts is where you end the year. So to get
So
to,
it's an aggregate.
to get to 20%, we would have to be at 30% next quarter, yes. But if we're over 20 and we're making the progress.
Making progress.
Yes. And they're convinced that we're making every effort, that's very
We
important.
have to be
And
36% of the same amount we were 4% of,
Yes.
otherwise it won't be.
Average of 20.
No.
We get the average. And we may not be at 20% year to date at the end of the next quarter, but we will, I'm confident we'll go with 20 now with the actions that we take.
So that's question one. Second question is, if it's below 25,000, even though we don't have to, if we do, is it counted toward our quota?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So by not doing the smaller items, we could actually be digging a little bit of a hole.
Yes, yes.
So it's better just to take the focus forward for everything.
For everything, yes.
For every
That's the way we feel, and we feel it's critically important.
For every opportunity.
And there's complete buy-in here with everyone.
We've set the goal, and it's no different than any other compliance thing. We set the goal, we live by it, and we strive to meet it.
Now, does, and I will ask this in open session, does our $25,000 fit this authority where we should be at? Or should we raise that threshold to $50,000?
That's the goal, that's set by ESP.
Oh, it is set, okay, so that's it, and you're done. Hammer it out.
So you did say, Fred, that there's a way that there might be a time where we have a bid where the WBE is the third bidder, which could be $30,000 more in the bid, and we might have to take that to make the compliance.
You would have to consider that.
Consider that to take that.
If it was
Okay.
over 25,000.
Yep.
And it was a requirement, I think the others could be rejected because they didn't meet the
Okay,
requirement. If it was under 25,000 and we didn't have to set the goals, then that's your decision.
Yeah.
And use your discretion on what is in the best interest of the authority.
As I'm saying,
Help
it
us
could
make
cost
the
us
goal.
more money down the
Yes.
road. All right, so thanks.
Well, that brings me to a very interesting question, because at the end of the year, if I'm sitting there and I look at my checkbook and what I spent to follow the rules, what was my low bid, what was my mandatory bid, what did that cost me for the year? And it's like, we as the board, okay, as a authority, need to look at that number and see exactly what it means. Cause I don't know, would it be 100,000, could it be 200? I don't know what that number would be.
Sam, we were talking earlier in the facilities meeting, but if we institute that other form we were talking about, like a non-inclusive bidding certificate, WMDE form with a number, those bids will never get to, if they don't have it, they'll never get to this board.
Right,
You won't
so
know.
you won't have to worry about it.
You won't have to worry about it, you're only gonna get one
That's right,
small.
what you're talking about, yeah.
And we're gonna do that.
You're only gonna get one
Steve
small.
Wade,
Yeah.
and sit well with facilities.
What it comes back to Doug's question is, if it seems astronomically high, then you always reserve the right to reject all bids and go back out.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
If you take a look at what somebody's told you it should be, your competent engineer, whoever else is looking at a project, and, you know, he says it's $1 million and they come back at 2.5, you just reject them all and go back to the drawing board, because you're better off.
Well, let's move away from that, because we really spent a lot of time last meeting, this meeting, whatever, so I think we can move on that, we have some direction that came out of facilities, and let's, what, do you wanna make more comment?
Yeah, one closing thought, because this is a sensitive item for folks watching it on camera. The authority has the 20% MWBE rule. We will comply with the 20% MWBE rule.
No question.
No question.
Okay,
Thanks, Brian.
let's go to the reports, if you don't mind.
You can stop help you again, you know.
No, you can't. That's why we're going to report. The first one, on page 9, in fact, I would rather go to page 10. I'd rather, they're not in the order that I expected. So let's go to page 10. This is something that I think that I failed to do the last 2 years, was give you the final audited financials versus the budget. When you get the final audit, and then we just move on to the next year. And this was always something that I know I did in the last 2 years, didn't give you this, and I think it's important. It shows that, our revenue was $2 million more than budget. Our expenses were $1.6 million more than budget, so we did $500,000 better than budget. Of course, we know that a major part of that was the wind turbine project, and on both increased expenses and increased revenue. But we did have an extra. Then back to page 9 is where we are this year. We're a little under budget on revenue. I don't think it's cause for concern at this point, because in the budget, I tried to put revenue where I thought it might, the months I thought it might come in. This is not anything, in the budget column, that's not 1/3 of our revenue, it's more than that, it's like 35.5% of the yearly revenue. It's because of where I put those in the budget. So I don't think there's, again, any cause for concern here. We're actually doing better than, on the bottom line, $41,000 better than the budget for the first 4 months.
Why was the maintenance expense lower, Steve? I mean, what happened? I mean, that's a nice thing, don't get me wrong. I mean,
We did look and make sure that we hadn't missed any accruals or anything like that, and we hadn't,
And I put in some plan, sometimes you gotta put in things for equipment aging and things like that. And instead of coming the first 4 months, it may come in the end, so.
okay, so we got a surprise coming?
It's really
Okay, I mean, that's just, I mean,
page
that's.
10
Yeah,
has a better, but it's just the way we kind of
okay,
estimate
I mean,
things.
it's a good thing there, but it's, we're gonna,
Like tire wear and
Okay.
things like that,
Okay.
so I just kind of put in those unexpected things.
I didn't know if you're, obviously you kinda answered the question, if you're putting something off, we're gonna do it later, which is
Possibly,
basically,
yeah.
okay.
Hey Fred, would you, for separate analysis, send out to the board what's going on from the Bristol, because the traffic is up and it continues to go up, yet it looks like our mix is.
well, in the budget, again, the budget was up also, and I think it's just a matter of the timing of where I put it in the budget. I think I can do that, and I will, but I think it's comparing it to something that I did, not something that, this 875,000 represents more than 1/3 of the revenue expected for the year.
So you say you set that number too high? Is that what
I
you're
may,
saying?
I don't know that, no, I don't know, the budget I don't think is too high.
Sounds like
I'm
you
just saying that
weighted it higher in different months.
Yes, according to history.
Okay.
So, yeah, I can analyze that. And again, I'll be analyzing it against the ideas that I had for where it would land in the budget.
You might see something, commercial traffic's on for some, something that looks like the budgeted next versus, sorry, the average purchase budget. Thank you.
Page 11 is the airport report. And you will see the July Cape Air's record of 1,053 passengers. I read on North Country Now that the highest they'd ever been before that was 944. That's incorrect. Last year, and I brought that report. This is the report that I get from Cape Air. It is 980. That's what it was last July. I don't know, unless they had a restated report for some reason that they didn't give me. It was 980 last July.
What would be the maximum number that they could do in the flights that we have?
It's 9,800 in a year.
No, I mean per month, per month.
Per month,
Yeah,
9,800 divided by 12. Or, let me see, 27 times 31. It'd be 27 times 31. Because it's 9 passengers, 3 times a day.
31 day month, 837 passengers.
837. That would be no cancel flights.
That would be 837 plane.
That would be in Plymouth only, yes, yeah.
We can't make
So that
double.
doubles
We can't make 10.
Double up the bed. Yep. So they're doing very well. I didn't have the fuel numbers for July, but you can see that we're up significantly for the first 3 months. Then, if you'll go to your packet, bridge report, you can see that the auto crossings were up 3.7%. For the month of July, up 7.22% for the year. And again, this comparison over here where it showed that when it's compared against budget, this is compared against last year, not against budget. So I think in the budget, I had everything else is up 5%. You can see this is up 6%. It'll be a timing issue on where and why the revenue is what it is. 3.7%, I would think maybe has something to do with the Canadian exchange. You know, maybe that's why it's a little less, but the other 2 bridges, Messina and Thousand Islands, are both have lower traffic than they did the year before, according to the water town the other time. So we're doing pretty well there, I think.
It was brutal last Friday. I went twice to Canada on Friday, it was brutal.
Yeah. Right. And I see out here Monday it was brutal.
All going
Going
back, it
across,
was
yeah.
probably 3 lanes, I think 12, the shortest lane had 12 cars, campers.
Any questions about anything that I reported?
No. Very good report.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent.
I see Karen's gonna give a report?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just be short and sweet, obviously you all have it in front of you, but, I'll just put in a couple of the probably higher points, the AEP report.
Excuse me, Karen. This is your first report, it should be long, extensive. It should be, really philosophical, I just don't get out with a short, easy report.
Short and sweet to the point.
All right, we'll go with that.
So, couple of the bigger things, the AUP report from Captioning Company, which was separate from the audit, is all set. I have the letters, so we can get everything to ESD, get everything finalized for that grant. I've been working with Steve some and with Kelly at CNS, so we can get the funds here for our new truck, which you've seen pictures of. Hopefully she's trying to time it so we have it as close to the arrival of the truck as possible, so we're not putting money out without having, the money from them. We're still doing some work with Mr. Fieldman, who you all met before, with our insurance policies, getting everything switched over. They've been very helpful, so. And I am working on RFP to, put out for banking, which hopefully if it's not done by the end of the week, it'll be early next week, so, get that out. That's probably the high points. All of the bank recs are caught up through, I just got all the July statements, so everything up until then is done. So everything is going on for the year so far.
Well, you said here in the report you're researching ways to increase, the W.
Yeah, Fred and I have been working
Yeah.
together. There's a few places where right now we're getting some of our things from non-MWBE vendors where we could possibly be getting things, from some of those MWBE. So I made up some lists
Good.
of some of the, things we purchased from certain vendors right now to see if we can get them from other places. So.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Anything, Karen? No?
Karen, I'm interested in the past due accounts that you mentioned here. Do we have anything serious at this point? I know we've had some issues in the park at different times.
Not anything that hasn't been handled right now.
We have that ongoing issue that we have spoken about in the executive session previously.
That you're not getting any better?
I believe that was,
It's 7 days late. Because it's,
And I have already been in contact.
Okay. Thank you.
Obviously, John is away, I know he's ill or having a doctor's appointment,
Yep.
specialist in Syracuse, so I.
Be happy to question for him, Mr. Chairman.
Appreciate that.
He's been meeting a lot with the county and a lot with customers, trying to drum up business for the port authority, providing port rates to a local company that's been exploring a bulk commodity wood chips to Europe. Have his heavy industry meeting. We had the meeting with Morton Salt, major customer that was here on August 2nd. It went extremely well, and again, compliments to all staff on that meeting. That went phenomenal. And also, he was running down one additional opportunity with Morton that didn't pan out, but it was another major opportunity. As far as industrial development and promotion, he's made over, it says here on sheet 15, but it's actually up to 20 visits now so far as a direct result of this. The Northern Border Regional Commission fiber optic cabling in the industrial park was submitted. He's continuing to have contact with an Ottawa-based firm that has an interest in opening a facility here. Again, this isn't somebody that's coming here tomorrow, but it's a long-standing contact that we've had a relationship with. The bulk mailing went out to 8,000 firms in southeastern Ontario, and he's continuing to do follow-up calls to that. And again, there's, as I mentioned, numerous opportunities with both John and the county doing tag team efforts to bring business here to the region. The marketing committee was held. That meeting was held. And other things that he's working on coming up, specifically the local radio ads and the schedule, the heavy industry meeting coming up. Again, trying to tie in with the ag sector with fall harvest opportunities. And the authority will be exhibiting at Break Bowl Americas in September 23rd, 24th.
Where's that?
That's in New Orleans this year. It goes back and forth between New Orleans and Houston.
You all come down.
I think you should take your lawyer with you. Keep you out of trouble, Fred.
Yeah, jambalaya. Any questions for Wayne in that report? Okay, Steve?
I'll just touch on a few things here. In the industrial park, we finished the upgrading of building 4. That was part of a renewal, a lease renewal. There were some items that needed upgrading. We took care of that. On the bridge, we're about 80% complete of all the floor beam repairs. And we're gonna turn our attention to the cabling and coating of the cables, and some pier work for August and September. We received a brand new pickup and snowplow, and we also received the Jacobson RT 311 mower that replaced the mower that we had the fire with. Out at the airport, the main thing we did this past month was we've been doing a lot of mowing, and Darren Green and I last week were out in Wyoming, Minnesota, and you'll see the pictures of the truck, but we had to do the final build-out inspection. So rather than bring the truck here, and then we complain about little items, we went through the spec point by point, and that's their general method of operations. And we had made 4 items. They did a really good job. We're really happy with the fit and finish of the truck, and they give us a great tour of their facility. It's pretty amazing. They do ARC trucks, which are airport trucks, but they also do structural trucks that are from all over the country and all over the world. They're quite a impressive firm. In fact, they told us they delivered Potsdam's truck, I think 2 years ago. It was a ladder truck, and I wasn't aware of that. But we're going to be seeing that August 21st, and then hopefully maybe I can get the truck here just for the next board meeting, just have it on the parking lot. But up close, it's all shiny and new and pretty impressive.
You're talking about the one you was parked next to it.
Yeah. I don't know if you all saw the San Francisco, when you saw the emergency in San Francisco, you might have seen a long fire truck with had a boom on it with what they do is it's got an infrared camera and a puncture thing that can do a fuselage and put spray and fog in there. That, next to us, Halifax, Stanfield Airport, which is the last airport when you're heading to Europe, they're really not a huge passenger one, but commercially, it's quite a crossroads for all kinds of traffic. Well, they had 4 people there, and the 2 trucks put ours to shame as far as the size of them, but they were spending about $1.8 million on two vehicles, and they were something to see, but they had to spend a whole week going through theirs. So, but it was quite interesting to see theirs and how customs, the custom job that Rosenbauer does.
Hey, what's the transition, I know we had an old truck and we talked to, Nick Fry and the Newell Fire Department, if they have a use for it, whatever, what is your plans at this point in time?
We're waiting on a letter from them, I don't wait, have we seen anything yet?
Yeah, we're awaiting a letter from Hamilton Fire Department requesting something with the full truck. We can't just give it to them, we need to have something to act upon. We have talked with them numerous times and they're still waiting a letter, so I anticipate there'll be something, some kind of committee action in the future on this, and board action.
So if that doesn't go anywhere, our plan is to
Well, I know some companies,
retrofit it for some things?
you can retrofit, and then I know some companies offer to buy them and retrofit them and sell them to other people, so, there's a couple companies out there that just send me emails there, so,
So
I
we
really
have
haven't acted on it.
Does it have a value to it?
Oh, sure, sure.
Okay, cause
And
we're
then
kinda worried that, it didn't have much of a value and it just, Newellton's gonna be obviously Ogdensburg may respond first, but Newellton is assessed as the priority. But now I start to wonder if we just jumped the gun here a little bit.
Yeah, and, well, we'll see, I guess we were kinda waiting to see what Hewlton does, and then we can talk about options.
Okay.
And leave it up to the board to decide how they wanna go with it, but I know there was quite a, kind of a, sense that we'd like to see Hewlton have that, but it.
Well, I think we need as a board know exactly what the
Sure.
value is. So we're having, I'm saying donating value, but we need to know.
We'll
what it
bring that,
mean-
we'll bring it
yeah.
to. In fairness, I think my first thing was, based on possible future operations, I wanted to just keep it, and so the next thing naturally was, well, if we don't wanna keep it, do we wanna give it to Hewlton, and that's kind of why
Yeah,
we're.
well, you gotta tell us. You
Yeah.
tell us what you want and what makes sense for us to
Sure.
make a decision. I don't wanna give something away too soon and we just jump the gun too fast.
Sure.
So okay.
What you'll see will be consistent with our asset disposal policy. You've seen the last variation of it is when we disposed of a non-BART compliant loader that we had a couple of years ago. Same type thing and see what the values are.
And at report, we've been very busy with, the 2013-2014 salt shipments. We've received 2 vessels from North American, and roughly around 47,000 tons of North American salt has been, taken to storage, and, it's been covered, so that's the long pile you see down there. That was just covered last week. And, over the weekend, we received, the MV Solarium from Morton Salt, that was 29,200 tons. And we're relocating part of that, most of it was put in place, so we got a lot, a good savings from Morton because of their location. And then we expect the Peter Cresswell, the last date and time I got was 1 o'clock Sunday morning, with another 29,200 tons there, and we still haven't heard anything from Cargill, so I expect Cargill will take up some of our fall shipments, but the Cresswell will be our 4th ship this year. That's pretty well on budget for what we expected for business.
Yes. Yeah, and this has really been, I encourage you to drive by the port, take a look at it, or stop down when we're open. This has been a very underreported story. As Steve mentioned, we're up to our 4th ship. Our salt volume is up significantly. Check us out. Again, we'll have another ship in on Friday.
That's amazing because 2 years ago I sat here and we had 1 ship at this time of year. Well, 2 years ago, I
Right.
think back, and then all of a sudden the turbine project went out and we ended up 14, 15 ships or wherever we end up, and here we are 4 or we're 5 in an off year, I would say an off year, you know, better than it was 3 years ago, and we have more to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent, Steve.
Yeah. Let's see, that's a work, yeah, basically salt's been our emphasis there, and grain is moving, coming in and going out, just kind of steady, nothing, either way, but it's been steady business. And then just a few things there, the chairman talked about it, Wade did, we replaced the carpet, we've got a little more work to do with some carpeting in some of the offices, and we'll be done with the exterior painting of the building, probably in a week or 10 days, and we did replace those rotten wood columns out front with some, they were kind of a composite there, and hopefully they'll last for a while, but we replaced the columns out there. Quite proud of those. That's it.
That's it. How do you like the new mower?
Oh,
And, you know,
it's got a, so
what's different between that one and the older one?
I think it
as far
seems
as-
to have, well, in that you got a little more variable on the speed, it's slow, we can adjust it, and we'll get a we're getting a better cut with that. And I think part of that is we've taken a better look at, early in the season, you usually have to leave it up, and what happens, you don't get a really good looking cut. So later in the season, once you get it down, it has a better cut, so we're kinda happy with, and we've been using it more in the park, where to
Okay.
keep all that down.
I see mowing,
Yeah.
and I call it the triangle, or,
Yeah.
we gotta come up with a name of that, what,
We'll come up
Davis
with-
Land. Something, I don't know, we gotta come up better than a triangle, we can come up with some name for that.
My apologies.
You don't want your name after it.
Having a quick side conversation here about the differences between the mower and, we're saying regular versus extra
Okay.
Don't work so
Well, I
much.
bet we're having a laugh or two in here anyway. Steve, anything else you wanna add, anybody question for Steve? Doug, anybody?
I just wanted to comment that your bridge crew this year is exceptionally friendly and welcoming. They were great, and I watched them, even the cars in front of me, they all wave and they smile, and they were just, I just thought it was just an image that,
Like, some years, some kids go out of their way and they take it serious, I mean, they all should take it serious, but sometimes you get them in a lull or whatever, but.
I was very
Well,
impressed.
that's
I
nice.
got tired of seeing I crossed 4 times Friday, but no, they were just, I just noticed it, and I thought it was really good.
Well, thank you.
Steve, just to interject one other thing here too, we're meeting with an MWBE engineer in September.
Oh.
To see what we need to do with the building, the facade on the building, to do it once and do it right, to see what our
This
options
is
are.
what
Yes, and one thing I didn't want to get too messy on the WBE thing, but, what I'm trying to do is integrate, it takes some time just to kind of turn ourselves around into that thinking. But if we're finding people that can do the work, and if we're comfortable, and then that's just a, a blessing on the side, I think, and I'm getting through my people too, like, and it's that discretionary spending, maybe something more $2,500, but that adds up through the year, so we're just trying to turn around and finding people and finding some sources that, and like Wade said, the Floyd Albert one kind of fell right into us there, and maybe there's something, maybe there isn't, but, we get to see how they do, and, if there is, that'll help out, but that was just something I just wanted to comment on.
You know, something I just thought, we use the MWBE terminology all the time, and the people on television or whoever that watch these things, they probably don't even know what that abbreviation means. You know, it's Minority Women Business Enterprise, and it's like, okay, a lot of people don't know exactly what we're talking about, but I mean, that's something that you identify sometimes, but. Anything else, Steve, anybody? Nope. Okay. Now we find my agenda sheet. Okay, Personnel Committee.
That's an oversight that should.
I was gonna say, well, let's hear from the Personnel Committee. We have nothing there. Finance reports, anything there?
No, we looked at the reports, and only one question, and we got that resolved without any difficulty. Finance report's fine.
Doug, anything you wanna add to marketing or anything?
We just had that, we had our meeting there, and we discussed our budget. At this time, we have $54,000 left in our marketing budget. good responses with 9 more coming. And, his email, he's reached out to 80 to 100 companies, which is, pretty good. And, his mailing in Ottawa was to all high-tech, firms there, so I think we had a good meeting and, a lot of good things come out of that. And I think in October, he's going to a trade show in Ottawa, which will, involve the military for both the US and Ottawa, so.
Yeah, it's not CANSEC, it's the other.
Sure, tech.
Yes.
Yes, so that's pretty, that's good, and, there's also a St. Lawrence County Agricultural Tour on September 13th. And these came at noon, so the marketing committee was invited to go and have, if they wish. Steve, you have anything else?
No, I don't think it's very good job.
Thanks for every board, though. It's really good. At least some exciting stuff that's happening there. That's good. Very good. Wade, do you have anything? Oh, I see approval of contract for fencing is,
Yep, there is one unfinished item from last time, and that's revolves around the fence support, specifically the bidders that were, the bids that we received, if you see them in front of you, lowest bidder is Rommel Fence at $75,0750. Reason it was tabled was to see if we could get an exemption, and the answer to that question is no, because it did not have the specs attached to it, because it was under $25,000. So we recommend that the low bidder, who was an MWBE, be selected at $75,0750.
okay, anybody like to make a motion?
So Ron is an MWBS?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Leave it that way, and that back. Upcoming board meeting, shows here September 4th.
Would it be possible to move that meeting to the following week? Would that work?
Listen, by the way, I
No,
want,
September 11th, I'm in community education on night class, so.
while we got that on the table, is this a better meeting for everybody, or would you like the mornings? You know, switch. I see in Ogdensburg, they had a 7 o'clock in the morning meeting. What do you think of that? No.
This works better for me only because of my
It,
office.
yeah.
Works better for me, too.
Does it? So the afternoon meeting's better?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we, Doug, you got concern?
No.
Okay. Why don't we, do the same way, go back to 3:30 facility?
Okay.
And, unless there's something else between now and then?
Yeah, I'd like to tentatively put the facility committee meeting at 3 o'clock, because there may be a couple of airport issues. to come through.
Okay.
And
All right.
and then the board meeting at 4.
What date?
The 11th.
September 11th?
11.
Okay. Now, Mr. Carr, Fred had to leave because he's involved in other boards, whatever, so that was his concern today. He had to leave for 5 o'clock for a meeting at, okay, at 6 or so, whatever, but, consensus here is it works better, and I was concerned with the people that work, okay? That, what's best for their jobs and what what you need to do, so you shouldn't be penalized for the morning meeting.
Well,
Yes, Steve?
my schedule's pretty easy, so I can do.
We're
morning, evening, or
we're done
whatever,
golfing by
but
then, Steve.
Would it work, a different evening work better? The only thing I like is to have a couple months in a row where you make plans, you make it around the meeting, and I understand we have to make changes, but if you were saying, Fred has another meeting, if Wednesday nights aren't good and Thursday nights fit into everybody else's, maybe we could inspect that.
Well, when I get into officiating season, Wednesdays is my off night, so that's why, for me,
No,
but I serve the will of you folks, guys. Whatever you wish, whatever it is,
I mean, I don't know, could tie to that, I mean, it's, anything's okay with me, but kind of tie down for me, I hate anybody not to be able, you know, if he has to leave, I feel bad for him, because I know he's conscientious and wants to be here.
Yeah.
So if we wanna do another night, that's fine with me,
Yeah.
I'll leave it to the chair.
So why don't we leave this to the 11th and then come back and we'll discuss it?
Sure.
You know, we've actually, I mean, I don't know how many years I've been here, not as long as this guy, not any closer down than anybody else, but we've always had some level of flexibility of what we need to do. And I don't like to disrupt their thinking and their business days either, because they have to, their days, you know, it's probably good for them that we're later in the day too.
We're here regardless.
I know that, but you're gonna tell me on camera, but I know what you're gonna tell me off camera, that it's easier for them to do the reports and gear up for the day, so. But the reverse side is, they've been here since 8 o'clock this morning, and if I keep in one of our long-winded meetings sometimes, they're out of here 9, 10 o'clock, and then some, you know, so it's hard on them too, so.
11:30 or just.
Yeah. No question. All right, so we're gonna go September 11th, 3 PM facilities, and then 4 PM regular meeting. Okay, Wade, you wanna take us through some business items?
Business items, very light agenda tonight. Item C1, you can just cross off your list, but let's go ahead and jump right into A1. This is approval of a lease supplement with Caller's America Gallery. This is for 180-foot square office space here in the Bridge and Port Authority at the rate, terms, and conditions you see before you.
That's not right.
May I interject? When we put the agenda out, they had this past around that got revised, there's actually an increase, so this rate is not correct.
What is the correct rate, please?
I don't have it because John was gonna make a report on it.
Oh, yeah, he
It's a
did
3%
ask me to
increase,
do
I
that,
think.
and I have not got that either.
I have it on
But
my
it
desk.
is, it's $210 a month, what would that be? No, 200, that's.
Why don't we do this, rather than guess, we'll hold it over until next month. This has
Well,
been a good
how much
plan.
time do you need to
We'll get
figure
it
this
correct.
out? Do you
I
need-
have it on my desk.
All right, why don't you go do that, and we'll go on to another agenda item, and we can work on that.
Our
Okay with it? You okay with that?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
fine.
All right, okay.
Agenda item A2 is approval of purchase of lawnmower. This is a lawnmower that came through the facilities committee earlier today. This is for Kubota diesel, zero-turn lawnmower, at a cost not to exceed $13,170 from Snow Equipment.
You wanna give us a report on that, just kinda, with the board exactly what we planned on? Why don't I do this, I'll give Fred side, whatever, we looked at, as a board here, whatever, gave Steve some direction to look at a lawnmower of his choice, that means to back up the big lawnmower that we have, that would do the trim work and would fit our needs, to be exactly what he wants, and this is what he researched and brought forward to the board. And the facilities, committee met and agreed that's a very good purchase, and it's a board decision if that's what you wanna do, so.
And, in this kind of work, the mowing, we've been doing with two 54-inch John Deere mowers, and they go year-round with snow blowing and everything. And what we're finding, we feel we can do just as much more with 72-inch zero-turn, we can do more trimming, it takes away a lot of manpower and labor, so, especially at the airport, around all of those lights and everything, if you're within so many inches, you won't be able to take care of that. We chose the diesel. In the long run, there's gonna be a fuel savings there, and it's more powerful engine, so, that's why we're gonna spend a little extra money and we get the fuel savings.
But the diesel is quite a bit higher than
Excuse me?
diesel fuel.
Yeah, but when you match up, like, when you match up the fuel use for the same lane, it's like a third less in fuel use, so I looked at that too, as far as the price of what we pay for diesel. But when we started looking at it, what we paid in the amount of gas we use, it's definitely gonna show us.
And it's environmental friendly diesel.
It's obvious, two different sizes, right? There are two different sizes.
No, those are the same size, one's gas and one is diesel, that's why you see the price there.
Okay, there's,
And the choice was between a 60 and a 72 inch, and we felt the 72 will give us a nice spot, and, that, we're looking for more of a finish mower, and that's gonna be used more around the park, the building, up at the border station, and, we can have a bigger mower do those other things, I think that'll work out, kind of with a plan to take care of that.
Steve, I wanna put you on the spot and ask a question, I apologize, I don't mean to do that, but the Jacobson, with the policy, the Jacobson is full-time staff operating only.
Correct.
With the John Deere, it's a combination of staff and, summer kids. What's the preference on this one?
For now, it'll be our staff, it'll be CSCH people.
Thank you.
We're a little gun shy, but.
I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware.
We'll have to see, I mean, if the right person comes along that's been here a while, we get some kids that have been around, they know more about equipment than I do. And they run tractors, and if somebody's responsible enough, we may look into that, but as far as the bigger mower goes, we're gonna stay with that.
Thank you, I know we put it on record for
Yeah.
Jacobson, so I just want to make sure we do it.
Now, the company comes and does a training thing with,
Yeah, they go and they.
like you did the other one?
They come over, yeah, they'll run it, our people through it. Yeah.
Diesel motors, they last longer,
Yeah.
for lawnmowers, they do too.
Page two of where the bridge report was, is the analysis
Oh,
of
yes.
more. And I analyzed it to go to gas versus diesel, and it was, I believe that the gas was $4.65. I haven't got it on there, but I did do that. No, not $4.75, it was a nickel more. Because the depreciation was less, but the fuel was higher.
I think it's a great buy. I mean, I looked at the inches, you know, if you're gonna mow 72 inches, the other one's for $50,000, and this is, I can mow 72 for $13,000. Well, we should have 5 or 6 of these things.
The personnel committee will be busy with.
Yeah, we didn't know we were mowing, but we got a bunch of mowers up. I think it's a great buy.
As Steve said, with the zero turn, you have less trimming to do.
Yeah,
And,
makes big
it makes a big difference. I use one of them in my neighbor's buy, and it's cut down the trimming tremendously.
Tremendous, yeah.
He wears goggles.
We got a helmet on it. Amen. Okay, we need a motion from somebody here?
I'll move it.
Mona?
Go ahead.
Mona, Doug, you want a second?
Sure.
Doug, second. Any further questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to back up to agenda item A1. The correct rate in there is $13.34 per square foot. The rest of the rates, terms, and conditions are unchanged.
That says zero, is that still 0%
3.8.
increase? 3.8? Okay.
Kevin? No, I wanna make a motion.
Sure, I'll make a motion.
No.
No,
No.
yes, yeah, no,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right, yes.
Yes. What's your name?
I'll make that motion.
No, thank you. Need a second?
I'll second.
All right. Don, I'll do Mr. Hooper, you're gonna get, all right? Any further questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
The last item for this evening is agenda item B1 on page 17. This is approval of an agreement with Blevins Brothers. This is for a one-year agreement. And the easiest way to describe it, immediately adjacent to the sign up there at the airport across the access road, there's a section of the parking lot. Blevins owns part of that parking lot, we own part of that parking lot. And of the area that we lease to Blevins, it's a total of 1.3 acres. And periodically it comes up for renewal. The difference on this one, it's the same as it has been in past years, $1,000 for the period. We are putting in there a 30-day termination clause should we need the space. So that's a change from prior years.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Steve.
Second.
Second, Doug. Further questions, comments? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you very much. You have anything else, Wade, you wanna talk about?
No, sir.
Executive session,
There is,
really?
no need for an executive session. There will be at the September meeting, though.
Okay.
Um,
Any comments, board members, if you wanna make, anything, okay?
I believe, we should have dinner here as well.
Okay. Fred, you wanna make a comment?
Yes, I would recommend that each and every one of them go to Waddington and see what's going on down there someday over the next 4 days.
You just wanna go to Queen City with people and
I'll be there tomorrow morning, Fred.
Okay.
Fireworks.
Fireworks.
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Mona,
Second.
second Doug, all in favor, signify by saying aye.